Gracie Jiu-Jitsu rocks. Welcome to the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Rocks podcast, a podcast dedicated to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and all things Gracie, including self-defense, competition, anti-bullying, women's self-defense and empowerment, nutrition, and most especially, the people involved in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. This podcast is for the average Joe. It's for anyone who practices, trains, teaches, or just loves to talk about or hear about Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. We'll explore the lives of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu practitioners, how they got involved in the art, and what effect it's had on their lives. So buckle up and enjoy the ride. Welcome to episode 136 of the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Rocks podcast. As always, I'm your host, Marty Josie, and thanks for listening. Today we'll be discussing the lessons learned in 2020. And to participate in the discussion, I've assembled an excellent panel of Jiu-Jitsu Black Belts. And we'll get to that in just a moment, but first, let's start with our quote. And that is, "Martial arts should be a way of life. Not a job, hobby, sport, but a part of you and the way you live your life." Frank Gooding. Okay, today we're going to talk about the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned in 2020. Joining me for this episode, I have Mark Cukro, Randy McElwee, Alan Baker, Dan Barry, Chaz Valentine, Rondel Benjamin, and Andy Bryant. We start the episode off with Randy telling us about the new STAG program, which is the Pedro Sauer Law Enforcement program, and get a little bit into some of the upcoming events planned within the Pedro Sauer Association. After that, we have an interesting and insightful conversation about 2020 and the valuable lessons learned. So I know you're going to enjoy this episode. After the interview, make sure you stick around for the Make a Difference, Make an Impact segment. And now, without further ado, let's talk about 2020. All right, I'm here with a very distinguished group of guys, all Pedro Sauer Black Belts, to discuss 2020. And I believe all of you either own your own school or teach at a school. So let's start off by each of you telling us who you are and the name and location of your school. So we'll start with you, Mark.
So I'm Mark Cukro. Thank you for having me. I'm the owner of Integrated Martial Arts Academy in Harrisburg, North Carolina. This is my 15th year in business, and our program is still growing, so I'm very grateful for that.
Awesome. Randy?
I'm Randy McElwee, Pedro Sauer Black Belt, and owner of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Athens. And after retiring from Army Special Forces, I opened up 15 years ago in Athens, Georgia.
Excellent. And Alan, you're next?
Alan Baker. I'm the owner of the Atlanta Martial Arts Center in Woodstock, Georgia. We opened up in 2002.
Wonderful. And Dan?
Dan Barry, Salt Lake City, Integrated Martial Arts of Utah, Pedro Sauer Black Belt, and we just recently actually moved our facility to another location in conjunction with another group of individuals. So I've been training with Pedro since 1991.
Wonderful. And Chaz?
Chaz Valentine. I'm the head instructor of Bushin Martial Arts Academy and located in Williamsburg, Virginia. I've only been teaching there for about 18 months now before I retire next year and move out to hopefully Charlotte area, North Carolina.
Nice. And on to you, Rondel.
Hi, Rondel Benjamin. I'm Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Trinidad and Tobago. We've been running for around 18 years. I'm a black belt under Pedro Sauer and just enjoying the company I'm in.
Excellent. And last but not least, Andy.
Andy Bryant, Pedro Sauer Black Belt. I own Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Commerce, and we actually just opened at the end of last year. Up until then, I trained with Randy out of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Athens for a little over a decade.
Excellent. And like I said, starting off, what an incredible group of guys, so I'm honored to be speaking with you guys today. All right, the subject of today's discussion is 2020, the highs, the lows, and the lessons we've learned. But before we get into that, I'd like for Randy, and if anybody else wants to chime in as well, to briefly tell us about the new STAG program. So, Randy.
Thanks, Marty. The STAG program is our Sauer Tactical Advisory Group, and we just launched the law enforcement segment of that. It all began kind of last November at the fall camp. Prior to that, Professor had been talking to several people in the association, mentioning that he saw a need for more training for law enforcement officers. And the discussion included several key individuals in the association. We all contributed to outlining a concept. And I already had a program in place that, I've been making available to law enforcement and military units for quite some time. And then with some key input from Professor, we modified one of the law enforcement courses and began to restructure how we would get the training out to the law enforcement community. We decided to implement it using a strategy that we've been doing with our women's self-defense program for quite a while, to feature quarterly low-cost community seminars. And then we had a tremendous success with it already, sometimes teaching up to 150 sorority girls. And so Andy and I tested the concept in our area using the new law enforcement curriculum. And then we were all set to field it in the spring. We've been working with Professor, doing some individual tune-up on the curriculum, making some adjustments. We had tested and piloted some courses in our own area to make sure we had the concept down, and we were all set to bring it to the spring camp in May. And then out of the blue, in March, COVID happened, and that's kind of where the scramble began. We started, trying to make some changes, and then on top of that, we had, some key national incidents happening with police that were, highly publicized. And so it kind of presented a unique challenge, but we were able to kind of regroup, collect, and then we just presented our first class to a group at the fall Pedro Sauer camp last month in November. We had some excellent people attending, Pedro Sauer Black Belts. Majority, almost everybody had been graduates from the Pedro Sauer Level 1 certification course. Chaz was there. He could probably tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Really enjoyed it, man.
Andy's been helping me with it all along, and together we have been getting the information out there. And our concept is to make training more available to law enforcement by putting a program in place through the Pedro Sauer Academy owners that they can feature to the law enforcement professionals in their area.
Great. Well, a very, very important work indeed. So I'm glad that's it's really moving along. How can people find out more about that, Randy?
They can contact us. Probably the easiest way is just get in touch with us directly through Facebook. You can find me on there. And then we're actually launching a whole set of ways that you'll be able to get in touch with us. We just featured a public Facebook page for the Sauer Tactical Advisory Group. And we're going to be featuring a lot more ways that you can get in touch with us and find out how to get the training and the courses. Right now, we're trying to finalize the details to offer a course in mid-April at Alan Baker's place in Atlanta, Georgia for the spring Pedro Sauer camp as soon as that all gets finalized. I think
Excellent.
Mark probably has some details on it.
The conference that's coming up, it's going to start next year. So we basically spent a lot of this time, and during this time, there's so many opportunities to make improvements as well. So while we have challenges, we converted as many of them as possible into opportunities. And one of those is to build really significantly better conferences for our association and for the martial arts industry. And so we'll have basically, the goal is to have 4 major conferences in different parts of the country, and then we'll move them to around the world. But there will be a high level of professionalism with that. So it's jiu-jitsu, of course, that's what we do, but also we're reinvesting in the affiliates and what it means to be a member of the association, from the very first person's initial experience to bring them through a process. And then if they want to become instructors, we have instructor programs, and they're very professional, based on science and years of experience by people in the industry and out of the industry. And so we'll also have the firearms course, the stag course, the instructor development courses, how to market, how to optimize searching, and many different facets of how to run a successful academy. Because at the end of the day, we have to make sure that everyone that walks into an academy has a great experience. Everyone that joins the association has a very precise process that they follow, and that we can individualize if we need to, but the processes will be the same, and they have to be thorough and simple to navigate through. So we're going to start having these conferences, and of course, Master Pedro will, do seminar. He'll do whatever he wants to do, like he does with traveling and seminars. He has that luxury to do what he wants to do. But we want to have really big conferences and camps, and we've spend a significant amount of time reorganizing and restructuring as the association grows, and to help people develop their business so it's easier to make it through challenges like this. And we want to make sure that people don't just join an association, but they can go home and they can really genuinely see and feel and measure the differences in the benefits. And so we're going to start with these conferences, as well as plenty of other programs, which many of you are a part of. And some are still under development. Some are just getting on the radar, but that's the plan. So I don't think there has ever been a conference like what we're planning to do. And we're going to continue to do that.
Wow. Exciting. Very exciting plans for sure. So 2020 has certainly been an unprecedented year with COVID-19, as well as many other things. We've all faced a great deal of challenges this year, but we've also had some success, triumphs, and valuable lessons we've learned through it. So let's get into some of this now. Who wants to start us off?
I'll jump in.
All right.
Andy Bryant again, Gracie Commerce. So I woke up, I got my black belt a couple years ago, been teaching at Randy's for several years. Been heavily involved in the Pedro Sauer Association, especially with Alan. He was phenomenal when we come in to bring us in and mentor us and whatnot. And I've taught a lot of his, at a lot of affiliate training days. And so, I love the instructor piece, but after I had my black belt for about a year or a little more, I woke up one morning and told my then fiance, Lindsay, I'm like, hey, we need to open a school. And I expect her to think I was crazy. But she jumped on board. So we took off at the end of last year and started building out our place. Randy was instrumental in helping me. And then we were rocking and rolling out of the gate. It was awesome. I grew super fast, out of the gate to about 50 guys. I don't have a kids program. I'm just adults right now. We rolled into the first year and boom, COVID hit, right? So here I was in a brand new business, a brand new school. And all of a sudden I had to close shop down for a minute. I built some rapport with my guys, but I was worried. I'm like, they were all kind of newbies. I had a school full of white belts. So, dealing with that was a little bit of a stressful situation for me, but it opened up some opportunities, like Randy said and Mark said, for us to refocus on some things. And, I was blessed. My guys stuck with me. We didn't really lose anybody, but it gave me the opportunity to get back with Randy and start working on this stag program and whatnot. And, I'd always had a dream of, it was kind of weird. I wanted to bring Master Sauer to a school if I ever owned one, but I wanted to get to know him and Miss Ann kind of on a different level and whatnot. And I always thought it'd be cool to hang out with him at the lake, So I started working towards that, and me and Randy brought him into town. He was actually the first seminar was with us outside of the quarantine. Got him on the lake and behind the boat on a surfboard and all this stuff, and got to know him a little more. And in that, he directed me towards Mark, right? So I started burning the road up to Charlotte, North Carolina, and me and Randy both, and working with Mark on, some of the structured ideas and processes we're looking at to try to grow everything and bouncing ideas. And so in this downturn of COVID and having problems in 2020, more avenues opened up for me to do what I enjoy and I love. And, we were fortunate to get our school open back up pretty quickly. And we're continuing to grow again, and it's just been a blessing and a curse kind of all at the same time. So that was kind of my business side of it. And then my personal side was I was trying to get married during COVID, and we were supposed to get married in Jamaica, canceled that twice, and Randy was supposed to be one of my groomsmen before it was all over. He ended up being the friar that married us, and Georgia. So we had some business successes and some setbacks, and some personal successes and setbacks, and it's just been an amazing year. Definitely entertaining from the perspective I'm looking at it now.
Yep, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
I just went out to a wedding in Ohio last month, and it's certainly an interesting time to do a wedding for sure. Lots of things shifting and a lot of accommodations. I'm sure. No stress there. I'm sure, right?
No, not at all. Fortunately, Lindsay, she's way sharper than I am, and, so I didn't have a whole lot to do other than show up where she told me to. But she was way more stressed out than I was, for sure, about that piece of it. I was a little more focused on jiu-jitsu. She'll probably kill me for saying that, but just being honest, she was handling that piece and made my life on that front. But yeah, she was kind of pulling her hair out there for a few months, for sure.
Well, you guys look great. I saw some pictures. It was a beautiful wedding.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that very much.
Who's next?
So some of the challenges, and I think most of us have kind of gone through the same wave and cycles through this entire thing, but it's really been interesting to watch like the rise of the video instructionals, and there was a big wave of them, and everyone had a lot of ideas, and there's really never a shortage of ideas, although there are some good ones, where it really comes down to like execution and how we connect with our customers, our students differently. And we've had to really reevaluate the way that we deliver learning content. And so after a while, we've kind of run out of those ideas. And then, we get hopeful that everybody's going to start opening up, and they do in different areas all over the world. And some opened and some closed again. And so then we had to get creative all over again. And I think it's interesting to see how people adapt and then they change. And so there's been a lot of things online, and, a lot of the instructionals. And then now a couple of questions are, what are we going to keep out of this? Like, what do we learn and emerge out of this and still maintain? And I think to a large degree, we'll probably still have those kind of hybrid teaching approaches. But I think it was a really beneficial thing for people to learn how to connect and develop the relationship part of what we teach with their academies and the team, and how to reach people's homes and get people interested that can't come to an academy. And I took an idea from Rondel, actually, and the guys in Trinidad. We were on a call one day, and he was like, well, why don't we just like make videos, watch now and sign up later? That's what I did. And we shared them, and they got shared all over. And it was for the person that never even knew what jiu-jitsu was, and we got people to come in. And then we had to make videos for people that already knew what jiu-jitsu was. And then we had to disguise repetition and keep doing the same thing in a new, fun, and inventive way. And many of us, me included, got caught and recognized my own cyclical thinking. And so we had to get out of these thinking cycles of repetition and start to get creative. And it caused us, and it was really a benefit in many ways, to really reorganize and restructure. And some of this is we're working on, and some of it's coming out, and some of it is still getting developed. But the organization, the way that we connect with people, the way that we have mentors connect with people, the curriculum that we have, does it need to be updated, and if so, what? And if you never had a curriculum, this is probably the best time I could think of to dedicate time to doing so. Or you can find one that you agree with and use that. So we've put a lot of time in that. But most importantly, to people that are listening to this, is when you have an academy, it is much more than just teaching techniques. It's connecting with people. It's developing your business so you can share jiu-jitsu with more people and have a bigger impact in your community. You're developing people if they want to. If all people want to do is learn jiu-jitsu, leave them alone and let them just train jiu-jitsu. But if they want to improve as a human being or their perspective, and I think transformation is unavoidable when you train jiu-jitsu or any martial art, but specifically today, jiu-jitsu. And then how do we impact lives? Because at the end of the day, Parents bring their kids because they want their kids to be better citizens as they enter society and the workforce. Parents come usually because they want to get in shape, they want to relieve stress. And so what is our best way to deliver that? And it's not just one single way. And I think if there's going to be one thing that stays with us, it's to deliver all of these in multiple streams of learning styles and platforms. And so I think what it will be interesting to see too, like for example, how much the Zoom stock goes down once this is all over, or does it stay the same, you know, and what the usage will be. But it's also been wonderful to see how many people, and this is where your academy culture comes in. And I've spoken to many of you and other people where your students and customers and family call and they said, look, even if we can't go for 6 or 12 months, we want to make sure the good coaches are still standing when this is over. And we consider you or your academy one of those. And we're going to pay dues as long as we can. Now, of course, we don't expect people to do that. But the overwhelming amount of people that do that when you have a good culture in your academy is remarkable. And if you don't have one, it is an important thing to consider. And your culture should always come before operations, people. When you take care of people, operations are easy. If you focus solely on operations, people are not so easy. So I would kind of put it in that order. And I'll just have one last thing. I think this is a formula for a lot of success in businesses, academies, all over, is if you put team before teammate and teammate before you, everybody gets what they need. And if you put me first, nobody gets what they need. There's no cohesion in the team. If you put your teammate ahead of you, usually everything reciprocates, kind of like with the law of reciprocity. If you look out for your teammates and you work together as a team, you sign up as a team, you show up as a team, everybody walks in the door and they're treated like a valuable teammate, it's a lot easier to get what you need from your teammates because everybody is raising the watermark high together. And if any of that is out of order, it's very difficult to make a successful business, or more difficult than it needs to be. So that's kind of been the highs and lows for us. The lows is, and I don't know about you guys, but I feel a little personal piece of me leaves every time a student leaves in some way when they've been there for a long time. And you have to really watch people prioritize where they train and where they don't train and what they're willing to do and not do. But the good thing about lows is they're easier to get higher, right? I mean, things can always get worse, but they can always get much better very quickly too. So I'm just glad to be on the call and that all of us are still in business teaching jiu-jitsu and we can be on this. So those have been my lessons through 2020.
Very nice. Very nice, Mark.
Well, I thought it would be interesting to give you all perspective from outside of the continental USA. In Trinidad, we've had 6,700 cases and we've had 110 deaths. We've done that by, because we're a very small country, 1.3 million people, and our health system, I don't think, could sustain a full opening up. So we've been on lockdown since May, so we've had no physical close quarter martial arts allowed. So what's that? It's caused a massive pivot in the way we do our business. And there's some interesting ideas I thought you all would, find cool. One thing we recognized very early is we had to separate ourselves as martial artists and businessmen. As martial artists, we have a responsibility to our community. We have to be there to psychologically support our students because it is a relationship of discipleship in many ways. And we are really, whether we like it or not, perceived as life coaches, as people who, when people are in trouble, people generally come to their senses for help. And to just kind of remember what Von Clausewitz said about friction and morale, that a unit that's built on morale, that has a deep bond, can outperform units that have better training, better tools, better equipment. And so it really forced us to think more than simply people first. How do we create the cohesive bonds when we can't make physical contact? How do we stay connected to them to help them through this period of time? And how do we do that while keeping our business open, while trying to pay staff and remembering that the rising tide raises all boats, right? So how do we generate those opportunities. And some of the things we saw was we moved swiftly to a combination of one-on-one privates and virtual training and family privates. So the families that couldn't come to the gym, once we had the right sanitization and right protocols, we would go to them. It took a lot more of our time as instructors, but I felt that at the peak of this, when people were panicking and the world was turned upside down, seeing a calm, reassuring presence that's speaking to resilience and resistance to failure, that was a big deal. Things that helped us, we moved to the old Vale Todo strike-based jiu-jitsu syllabus because you can do that syllabus without massively close contact. It gave us a chance to work on biomechanics, striking. There was a lot of work done in the early phase of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu of jiu-jitsu versus striking and learning to strike and learning clinch work and takedowns and wall work and the weapon work. And we've been able to really focus on that. And that's created a whole wave of people who have a new appreciation for what we do. The guys who came in as sport guys, because of the last 4 months, now they look at UFC and they're calling me like, Benji, I'm seeing the punch block series. Oh my God, that was so cool. Olivari did this. Close guard works. The Berimbolo isn't, and it's great for us to really communicate what I perceive to be the true ethos and philosophy. The other thing that happened was we do a weekly lecture on philosophy, and it's 753 code, the 13 commandments of Carlos Gracie Sr., the 6 principles that resonate strongly in Team Pedro Sauer, where Pedro's use of biomechanics and his understanding of self-protection and Hickson's connection, and then the Grandmaster Elio, leverage, self-defense, and natural biomechanics. People started actually being interested in having those conversations. And those conversations have triggered now a weekly discussion about how we can apply jiu-jitsu to life. Because that's what we do, right? We teach strategic thought. We teach tactical problem solving, whether we like it or not, in a way that's what we do, and how to function under pressure. So those are the things that happened here, and just really grateful for all the ideas you all are sharing.
Nice. Really great insight. Thank you for sharing that, Rondel.
Well, I'll go next. 2020 has been a very interesting with its challenges as well as its opportunities. I would echo what everybody said so far, but I think that one of the main things that I look at is the association itself that Professor Sauer has assembled has really created a brain trust of individuals with a common goal. Yet at the same time, we also have such immense talent and knowledge in this group that we really, we can't fail. In the sense, there's so much talent, there's so much knowledge, there's so much enthusiasm within this group that I'm excited to see where the direction's going, and I'm really happy to see that Randy's put this STAG program together. I haven't been a part of it yet. I've had numerous conversations with Pedro concerning this, and I think it's a long overdue program, and I think it's going to really help and benefit all the members of the association moving forward. And not just the members of the association, but the community as well. And that's going to be one of the greatest things that we can bring as a collective to this group. And so I'm excited to see what's happening, within the association, where we're going. I think that 2020, as we look back on it, we'll see that the challenges that it originally presented to us became opportunity for us to really move forward and prepare for the future. Not just what happened in this last little bit, but moving forward, I think that we'll be a better organization because of it. And each, as it trickles down the school, I think that every one of us will be better off for what we've had to go through and endure during this time, because no matter what personal sacrifices everybody's had to make, in the long run it'll just make us stronger.
Pretty much like Dan said, I would echo everything I've heard from the guys as far as the operation of the school. It makes me think of something Professor taught me years ago, and it was getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And this was an uncomfortable year. But as far as lessons learned, when Marty gave me the topic of this, and I was thinking, man, what did I learn this year? And but what I came up with is I really reinforced a lot of the personal principles that I follow and business principles that I follow. So I reinforced those really more than learning them this year, because of the adversity or the pressure that we were placed under this year. One of the main ones is just, the ability to focus on the positive, a positive attitude. Keep your eyes, on growth and not getting caught up in everything that's going on, not only for myself, but, for everybody around me. Much like Benji said, we're responsible for the students too, and they'll come to us for support, growth, and a lot of that happened this year, and you end up kind of being in a leadership position, a light to those guys to, help them stay focused on the positive of the year. Business-wise, it wasn't too bad of a year just because I've always personally focused on multiple revenue streams, and the school is just one of them for me. Obviously, that leg of the table took a kick this year, but fortunately, due to the other legs on the table, we made it through it well, and had the ability to take care of my guys here at the school, and didn't really have to put anybody in a bad situation, and that was a good thing. Beyond that, I felt like I've got a lot done this year. I had a lot of extra time to do my own training. I had some goals that I was able to achieve that were kind of like life goals. And, sometimes life gets in the way of life goals, but this year it blessed me with some extra time to focus on them. So I was able to get some of those going and even finished a couple of them. So that's what I've got out of the year so far. And, the high point is getting on this phone call with all of these awesome individuals.
It looks like you had time to go down to Mexico and have some fun.
Yeah, I've always tried to make the things I enjoy doing part of my work. So years ago, I went through, became a dive instructor, a rappel master. So I'm get the opportunity now to run dive trips, which is what was going on that last one to Mexico. We had about 10 people. Everybody survived, so it was a great trip. So get an opportunity to get out and do different things that I enjoy, and it's work as well. But I mean, much like running a martial arts school, what better job can you have? Doing what you love every day and getting paid for it. It's amazing. It's a blessing.
I tell you all the time that I'm jealous of Alan Baker because I live vicariously through him through his Facebook and Instagram, right? Because he tends to like all the stuff I like, and then I realize that he's actually getting paid to do it. So
yeah,
we got to go diving, brother.
I know, man. It's on the to-do list for 2021.
That's a key plan.
Let's do it.
It's definitely a good plan.
Randy, I think we should get everyone to jump out of a C-130. That's my vote.
I'm down with that too.
I say we do that.
Good, Mark. I think that's good. We can pull your old paratrooper boots out of the closet and make it happen.
Absolutely. Just as long as we don't land in the trees, we're good.
Right on.
I think we need to combine Alan's concept and we land in the ocean and go for a dive.
Hey, that's okay. I'm going
to do it.
Now you're taking it up a notch for sure.
Skydive certification, personally.
It's got to be next on the list.
Say that again, Randy. I mean, Andy.
Sir?
Say that again.
I said I've been kind of waiting to see Alan's skydive certification. I hadn't seen that come across my my news feed yet, but I figured it's probably, in the chute somewhere.
Hey, I'd be all over that.
Well,
I'm working on a few things. Jumping out of a plane. I'm working on a few things, but jumping out of the plane's not on the list yet.
It's not one of them. Huh?
All right, listen. I'll go diving if you jump. That's a fair trade.
That's a fair trade.
Okay, you just put it on a public forum, so it's got to happen. I mean, what better way?
Sorry, did I call you out?
What better way to end this year than every one of us jumping out of a plane?
Seriously.
That's a good way to do it.
Hey, I was going to do that a couple months ago in Florida. My brother was there, and he's turning 60, so we were going to do it, but the weather got really bad, and we weren't able to. So I definitely want to do it.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'd like to just build a little on what Alan said. And, hearing you guys speak too, it makes me think of some other things. But, if I boil a lot down to just kind of what I'm grateful for too, and I'd like to, say this. First of all, if you're listening to this, you're above ground and you're breathing. And you got a roof over your head and some food to eat, you should be grateful to some degree, in my opinion. But let me tell you, I've spent a lot of time with my family this year, and it is nice to just spend time with the people that mean something to you in your life. And, because a lot of times it's easy to get caught up with business and work, but man, spending time with my family, I enjoy them. I like to spend time with them. Also being able to just keep my people that work, and keep them working because they have jobs and, they got to pay bills too. And the basic approach, Alan, you mentioned it, and I'm just in the same mindset as, if we go down, if we're all going down or nobody's going down. And so that's how it is. But, and, just like Benji too, like developing the skill set and the mindset, like you said, is so important because you can easily get negative and spiral down out of control and just bring it into all aspects of your life. And people ask sometimes like, man, are you always positive? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what do you want? To always be negative? So I think that's just as important. But the things that we can communicate to our community and the people that are listening to is people need a little inspiration. They need a place or a person to listen to and talk with that actually by the time they're finished speaking with them, they actually feel better about things and not to start,
Amen.
And it's like, I'm glad you talked to me instead of you sucked all the life out of my day. Now I'm depressed, so, but get into the marketplace and tell your story and connect with people. But here's the thing too, you better be ready when we get through this to emerge because you're going to need to emerge with full force and preparation. And so, those are really my thoughts, but I got to say, it's really been nice just spending time with people that mean a lot. And, I may even reevaluate how much I travel in the future too and minimize it a little bit. And so if there's any good things that come out of this, it's being able to spend a little more time with people. Now, whether they get on your nerves sometimes or not, I think that's that's just the normal dynamics of families and people knowing each other. But it sure is nice to wake up and try to figure out how I'm going to teach more people jiu-jitsu or run one of my other businesses and then do that with the people I enjoy. So listen, everyone on this call, we're above ground, we're breathing, you got a roof over your head, you got meals. If not, I'm sure there's someone that could help or someone you would help. But I think there's a greater sense of that through all of this. And so I just really appreciate that. And I'm grateful for it.
I think that's the key, Mark. You said grateful for it. I think the more we're grateful, we could focus, of course, on all the trials right now, or we could focus on, like some of you have mentioned, the opportunity for growth and to do things we normally don't take time to do. But being grateful for that opportunity, I think, is the key. Chaz, hadn't heard from you, man. Let's.
Yeah, I know. In situations like this, you guys know me. I just like to be quiet and listen to all you guys, and great ideas and stuff like that. I mean, for us, 2020, with all these restrictions and stuff, and I see how people can look at it as a negative, but me and my family, we look at it as a positive. We take the opportunity for what it is, and we try to grow on it every chance we get. You guys have been in business, run your own academies for a long time, and I think I'm still relatively new at this stuff. I'm new to the association. I've only owned an academy a couple years, about 2.5 years, and I closed it in 2018, 2019. And I moved up to Virginia, so I don't own my academy up here. I'm just a head instructor, and to be honest, I really only instruct full time now because the owner is constantly gone. So when they transitioned from another association, I kind of filled that gap to help them transition to the curriculum and how to teach it and this and that and what we look for as far as technique wise and stuff. And it is, you know, it was hard for us to adapt because I'm the new person here, so I still have to build a reputation within the academy, within the community. I still have to build a reputation as a jiu-jitsu practitioner and stuff like that. So I kind of still had to prove myself. But even when the restrictions came out, I had to take on multiple roles at work, and then I had to also figure out a way to kind of run the programs as well, so we don't tank and stuff like that. And you know, our biggest success doesn't necessarily come from us. You know, I'm still new to this. Before all this stuff, I wouldn't have filmed a jiu-jitsu video instructional whatsoever. You'd never catch me on Facebook. You'd never catch me on YouTube. It's just not. I'm just not that kind of person. But when this happened, we had to adjust, we had to adapt, and I had to overcome those obstacles for me personally. And Mark gave us a lot of great ideas on how to implement it and how to do it. And it was successful for us for a few months. But where we are, right, the way the community, I guess, kind of thinks is that only lasted for a few months, and then it started trickling off. So we had to come up with a new idea, and we did. We limited class sizes. We opened back up 2 days a week, limiting class sizes and stuff like that. And that's where we found more of our success, more of our participation in classes. But the one thing I did find that I really enjoyed about this academy culture was that while we were going through, you know, the videos, the instructionals and stuff like that, I had to figure out a way to coach the parents to help the kids, because we have a huge kids program. And, you know, we can say like, oh, do this, shrimp that, do this. But, I mean, if the parents really don't understand it, they're going to have a hard time training with their kids. And I think it helped them the way we structured our video program, because we'd get feedback from the parents that it worked. And they would show us videos that they're doing the curriculum, so it worked. But once we opened back up, everybody came back full swing, ready to go, picked up where we left off in the curriculum. And then we just kept keep moving forward from there. So I'm not going to be here much longer. Like I said, I'm going to retire next year. I'll be out of here at April. Hopefully I can find a house and move out there to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. But I'm still putting programs in place for them, so after I leave, they can pick up right where we left off and just keep moving forward and growing their programs once all these restrictions are lifted. But really appreciate you guys. You know, the mentorship within the association has actually helped me personally, and also helped me build programs for the school that I'm working with now. So I think that's a big thing that I've taken away from this year, especially this year, because I've been through other associations. I've been a part of other associations, and not once have I seen the teamwork and leadership in those associations that I do with the Pedro Sauer Association. So I can reach out to any one of you guys, and you give me, you know, great advice on how to implement programs and how to do this and business that and stuff like that. And for me, that means a lot, because I'm still new to this environment. So I really appreciate it. And the only thing I want to do now is, you know, pay it forward, help out the association any way I can, and do whatever I can to make the association better, and all of its students and school owners as well. Yeah.
Well, when you move to Charlotte, I'm going to count on you coming here and helping out too. I can't wait for you to move today.
Or food for thought, Chaz. Durham, North Carolina, Raleigh-Durham needs a Pedro Sauer representative.
Yeah,
that would
Atlanta's
be a
pretty
great
nice
place. So come on down. Yeah, they're lucky to have you too, man. You bring a lot, and some of the words that stick out to me that you use were adapt and overcome. So sounds like you've definitely had your share of challenge this year, but have navigated through it and are set to be at a good place and looking for the future for exciting things to happen. So great.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thanks.
Yeah. You know, Marty, I think a lot of guys hit the nail on the head there. It's really about who you're surrounded with, and we've been lucky from the beginning. Like Chaz says, we were also previously, you know, involved with another jiu-jitsu organization before we came over to Pedro Sauer. And one of the things that we've seen since the beginning, and it all started with Alan Baker, the way that he jumped in as soon as we came on board and has been there helping us from the very beginning, And then when all this started, he was kind of contacting us, personally, every other day, just checking on us, making sure that we were okay, finding out if we needed anything. And then once, things did open back up, we had Professor here, and, we connected with Mark and started working with him. We saw the same thing there, that we had a lot of just support and input. And that all trickles down from, Master Sauer being the great guy that he is and really caring about the people that are part of the association. It's been the key for us, especially during this time. And it's how we've been able to stay afloat. And like you mentioned earlier, Mark, a lot of folks were perfectly willing to, stay home if they had to, but continue to support us by paying their tuition and being members of our program in the school, even if we couldn't get together and train. Now, we adjusted and found ways around that just because that's the spirit of everybody around us and the support that we got and the encouragement. But it all has to do with that, group of people. It's been the key for us as part of the association from the beginning. And we, are really appreciative of everybody that's involved that way.
Yeah, I think probably if you wanted to sum up what 2020's been for me, what I have learned throughout everything was that it's a lemonade out of lemons year, right? I mean, that's really what it boiled down to. And and it when we shut down and whatnot, it gave me the opportunity to refocus some of my attention and grow my personal relationships with actually pretty much everybody on this call. I'm new of, but over the past several months, 6 months, I feel like I've been able to actually get to know better. And those relationships have just grown me as a person and me as an instructor and as a business person. So it's been phenomenal. And I'm super looking forward to especially what's to come with business and most importantly, our association with this fine group of guys that are getting together and putting, their stuff on the line to help everybody out.
I think our next teamwork venture needs to be that dive trip to Trinidad and Tobago with Rondel, so he can show us around.
Just saying.
Right.
Benji's got it.
You guys are so safe, it's not even funny. We'll take care of you.
Don't we need to do a stag course down there?
There you go.
Absolutely.
Most definitely, things to discuss.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So guys, some of the things that are standing out from the conversation is during this time, it's been very challenging for everyone. Most of us have learned to adapt and increase our use of video. Resilience has been the key. It's given us a chance to focus on keeping morale high, both for ourselves and those around us. Rondel, I love the whole a rising tide raises all boats. I love that. And Alan, you're quoting Professor of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I'm a firm believer in that. I do crazy things like ice baths and stuff all the time just to kind of reinforce that notion. So love that. It was also shared, it's a chance to focus more on philosophy and different components like applying jiu-jitsu to life. And I think most of us share the trait of not resting on our laurels during this time. If you get too still, it's easy to become depressed, or overwhelmed. But like Mark said, you need to kind of be a spark, a candle for everyone else and a positive light, a positive beacon for them. And I think we all believe in moving forward, recognizing the opportunity during this time and really doing positive things. I know myself, I wrote a book during this time. I went through a real estate program just to be able to do some stuff on the side, and just bought my first cabin in the Smoky Mountains. So lots of positive stuff. Awesome. And got promoted to brown belt. So I'm trying to do positive things. What else, guys? Any thoughts or advice for people moving forward, ending this year strong and starting in the next year? What thoughts or advice come to mind?
If you don't mind me jumping in.
Of course.
I just want to say, believe in jiu-jitsu. The power of embodied practice, of developing this ecology of practice of breath work and movement and this healing lifestyle that jiu-jitsu can become if you're in the right community, is the key to everything else for me. If my body holds up and my mind gets right, I can adapt, pivot, overcome anything. And so that understanding of what Grandmaster Elio always spoke of, where we become the jiu-jitsu in everything that we say and do. I think that for me is like a big takeaway.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think just look at what you can improve. Let's just start there. Okay, so if you can't train, what can you do? You can improve your movement. You can improve your conditioning. You can improve your diet. You can improve your mindset. You can improve the people that are around you. You can improve some skill set. If someone comes out of this and doesn't have a new skill, I don't even know what to say. I mean, so we have to do this, but there's a quote from Jack Welch that I like, and I'm paraphrasing it. I don't know it exactly verbatim, but that the change inside of your business has to be faster than the change outside of your business. The end is near.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the one thing that, a lot of us take out of this. And actually, sometimes I was kind of given a hard time about why I would keep a big reserve to be able to maintain my business if I had to shut down for 6 months. And that's one of the main reasons that we were able to stay in business and keep everybody on board. So, it's easy to find what ifs and why nots and how it comes, but let's make a simple list. What is under your control directly? And that is the way you wake up, the way you approach the day, the way that you look at everything and what you put in your body and you put in your mind, and the way that you condition your body and the way that you condition your mind. And movement is more important than technique. When the movement is there, the technique is easy to learn. So there's a lot of dots that you can connect. And 2021 should be a starting line where the floodgates open and we just start getting at it. And if it's not in January, it's going to be in February. And if it's not in February, it's going to be in March. But it's coming. And who's ready is going to be very obvious compared to who is not prepared. So that would be just my kind of takeaway from this.
Nice. Very nice.
I would say, for guys that, like I said, everybody, a lot of us have been in business, even me just opening, I have a great team, but, if you ended up struggling, just don't always think of everything as a business, and culture is super important. And, I feel like my culture at my school is derived from the culture that I've got out of the Pedro Sauer Association. I mean, we have a phenomenal culture within our association, like Chaz was talking about. And so if you struggled, but your doors are still open, try to cultivate that coming into 2022, your school culture, and, think about your guys and what you're really trying to do is build that team or that family. Like Mark said, team comes first and teammate then you. Because at the end of the day, people come through the door, to learn jiu-jitsu, and most of the time, the answer is self-defense, whatever. A few people want to do tournaments, but y'all know as well as I do, the journey is long. It's a long and sometimes monotonous journey, especially in the beginning. So, people stay with you because of the culture you create and the environment of where they train, even when they hit those lows and learning jiu-jitsu and whatnot. So that's an important piece to look at. And I think that 2020 probably showed a lot of the importance of that and how to, keep your business thriving. I like they said, a lot of my guys, I gave them all the option to pause their memberships, reduce rate everybody, and over half of them called me and told me not to reduce the rate. And it's because, we have such a family team oriented culture in our school, and it was derived through the association. And from what I learned from Randy, being part of his team for all those years. So I think, just it's a good time to reevaluate some of that stuff if you were, an academy that may have been struggling.
I think also, you're hearing a lot of people say all in this together right now, but the big question is who's really in it with you. And one of the things that I got out of the year, and everybody, very who you surround yourself with as part of that team so that you know who's in it with you and who's really in it. I never would have thought after my time in Special Forces that I would have found a group of people that would have been as close and we would share as much as the guys that I spent time with there. But my jiu-jitsu family and my Pedro Sauer family has definitely been that for me, especially throughout this year when things were so difficult. And I would say going forward that, everybody should try to live their life in 3D. Dream about what you want, decide what you're willing to do to get it, and then do the things it takes to get there. And sometimes doing means just resting in an uncomfortable position, like Marty was quoting from Alan. is to get comfortable being uncomfortable and just kind of decide when you need to hold fast and wait. And then also make sure that you deliberately wait as opposed to just sitting back. And then when it's time to do something, move forward and do it with a lot of direction, a lot of energy.
Like Professor says, move intelligently.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it.
I think it's pretty cool listening to all the guys on the phone call. One thing I'm hearing, and especially from Benji's comments about living jiu-jitsu and how it helped him get through the adversity that he's dealing with, and we're all dealing with. But overall, that's a major philosophy of jiu-jitsu. You'll hear guys all the time say they'll relate to jiu-jitsu to life, and if you're not doing it, you don't really know. But the guys that are doing it will sit there and nod their heads and agree with you, because you learn to deal with adversity. And we had a lot of it this year. And I think a lot of the life skills, the warrior principles that we take out of the study of the arts, the study of jiu-jitsu, has helped all of us on this call through this year. Because you can hear how it's phrased. Almost every phrase that each individual's used, you could relate to being on the mat underneath a monster. But it could also be related to the monster of your business, suffering. You're out there having to have a fight to make it work, keep it afloat. Like Coach Randy just said, sometimes you just have to pause and breathe. You can't get around some stuff at that moment, but it doesn't mean you won't in the next day or the next month.
That's huge, not being stagnant and knowing when to move and moving with intention and for the right reason, not just moving for the sake of movement, and knowing when it's time just to rest and look for the opportunity and the timing when it's right. Good stuff.
So and I hear everybody talking about these challenges and stuff like that. For me, one of my journeys is coming to an end, of course, almost 21 years in the Marine Corps. And throughout that time, I've learned, to consider, some of these challenges as blessings. And I refer to as blessings in disguise, because most of my challenges in the Marine Corps have always ended up benefiting me in a sense. Right. And so when I kind of correlate that to what's going on in the jiu-jitsu life that I live, I think in the end of this, everything will be much better in the end, because of the lessons we learned throughout this process. And I don't know if you guys ever read that book, The Dream Giver, and it talks about breaking through your comfort zones and all this stuff. And as I think about going through that, I constantly look at challenges and say, oh, I'm going to go through this, I'm going to get through it, and I put a lot of mental energy into it. But then after reading your book that you released, it kind of put me at ease, like emotionally, spiritually at ease, because your book kind of hit me in the way that no other book has ever done. So first of all, I appreciate you writing the book, but I've read a lot of self-help books, and they've never kind of hit me the way your book did, because it relates to me and my jiu-jitsu mindset. And then I think if I didn't have jiu-jitsu, where would I be? What would I be doing? Because I rely on it a lot emotionally. And during this time, we had to kind of cut back on that kind of stuff. So I had to figure out how to fill those gaps. But overcoming these challenges, with the support system from, the Pedro Sauer Association, your book, and then my family, I think 2021 will be a really good year for us, the association, and then other people if they let it too. So I really appreciate you guys letting me on this phone call, Marty.
Oh man, I'm thrilled that you're part of it, and I'm honored that you enjoyed the book and got something out of it. It really makes me feel good. Thank you.
Marty, I think Chaz hit on something real key there, and not everybody recognizes it, but it's a warrior mindset that he's gotten from that time in the Marine Corps. That's kind of shared in jiu-jitsu, and I noticed that in your book as well. And Alan mentioned it. And one of the big things that's come out of this year is, with some time with Alan, I've been prodding him a little bit, and he's come up with something that's going to be happening in 2021 that's going to be really cool, called the Warriors Path Mastermind Group. And, we're going to be doing something with that. I don't know if he'll talk to you about it. He's been keeping it on the down low, but I've been pushing him to bring it out to the forefront. And
Not more.
is kind of developing that, because like he said, if you don't train jiu-jitsu, then you don't have the benefit of getting the opportunity to develop that mindset. And, it's a lot better than going out and getting shot at to get that wisdom. So the jiu-jitsu is the place to definitely bring that to light, and Alan's going to be sharing it on a different level as soon as I get him to open it up. And get involved.
That's very exciting. Alan, you want to you keeping it under wraps, or you want to give us a little preview, man, or give everybody a little preview? Not put you on the spot.
I've been fortunate to be in martial arts for 40 plus years, and you learn a lot of things on the mat, but I learned a lot of principle, which Coach was saying is the warrior mindset and the way that a warrior or a martial artist handles adversity, plans his life, schedules his day. I learned all of that from martial arts, and I kind of learned it off to the side. It really wasn't part of the class, but it was all of my teachers and instructors playing it forward and helping me develop that mental culture or that mental landscape over the years. And it's allowed me to achieve things in my life that I honestly never would have thought I'd be where I am today. Never. Not even near it. And so the Warrior's Path is my attempt to put those together in an educational process to help people learn those things, because they're amazing. They did tremendous things for me. And I mean, you can listen to the guys on this call, and I hear hints of all of those principles in every person talking on this call and how it helped them. And, we kind of learn it as a byproduct. My goal is to put together a process to organize it and educate people with it, whether they're in the martial arts or not. And that's what we're shooting for. And with Coach Randy's help and pressure, maybe next year sometime.
We'll definitely be looking forward to that development and hearing more about it, man. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Exciting. All right, guys, as we're starting to bring it to a close, any final thoughts you want to put out there? If you do, now's the time. Anything else you want to add?
Thanks for having us, Marty.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to get on here with you, Marty. It's been a pleasure meeting you on the mat, especially over the past couple of years. And congratulations on that brown belt. They don't give those away.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be included in the group. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having us on the call. And I'm going to play this back and listen to it so I can hear everybody with a different focus. Instead of speaking, I'm just going to listen. But yeah, that's it. The self-development is full of discoveries, good and bad. And you have to, are you willing to find things out about yourself that you don't like? I think that's really the question, so you can fix them. But I'm honored to be on the call with you guys. Congratulations on your brown belt, Marty. Congratulations on your book. It's an awesome book, and anyone that's listening to this, go look it up and get a copy. All of us had it, and Marty didn't ask us to say this. We're saying it because it is a good book. It's well written, and you can connect with it. But 2021, better watch out. So we're gonna have a good year. So that's it. Thanks.
I love how you put that. It better watch out.
Greetings and solidarity from the islands. Jiu-jitsu is love, and island jiu-jitsu is love. So everyone is always welcome down here. You have family. Now I have to get that book. So as soon as I come off this call, because of Chaz, I'm going to go buy that book. And I'll let you know, Marty, but I expect amazing things because of the work you've done over the years. Has been amazing for our community.
Thank you, sir. Much love. All right, guys, I really want to thank you so much. When I thought about who I wanted to ask to be part of this episode, you guys were the natural choices. So I really appreciate your knowledge and insight. I appreciate your contribution, not only for this episode, but to all those around you in your life. You guys are great examples of warriors and leaders. So much respect to each and every one of you. So thank you so much.
Take good care.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right, what a great bunch of guys there. As I said, I'm honored to have been part of the discussion with them. All right, don't forget my book, See You on the Mat, is available on Amazon. It makes an absolutely great Christmas gift, so get your copy today. Up next is the Make a Difference, Make an Impact segment.
First question to ponder when you go home is why? Why go this far? Why try to learn this much? Why study? Why put yourself out? Why try to earn as much as you can earn, share as much as you can share? Why try to become all that you can possibly become? Why develop yourself to the full? Why try to do it all? Why try to take on this much responsibility? Develop every skill you possibly can. See every human you possibly can. Go to every class you possibly can. Touch everybody you possibly can. Why do that much? Why go that far? Why share that much? Why give that much away? Why try to see everything? Why try to do everything? Why try to become everything? The first question to ponder when you go home is why. Here's another good answer to why. It's the second question. Why not? Why not see how much you can earn? Why not see how much you can learn? Why not see how many skills you can develop? Why not see what kind of person you can become? Why not see what kind of influence you can have? Why not see how many people you can rescue from oblivion? I want you to take that personal. Why not? Why not? You've got to stay here till you go. I mean, what else are you going to do? Why not see how much you can do, how far you can go? Now here's number 3. Why not you? You've got the brains. You can make decisions. You can study the plan. You can change your life. You can grow immensely in the next few years. You can make your dreams come true. You can build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through. You can become healthy. You can become powerful. Why not you? My very last question on the questions to ponder is why not now? There never was a better time. And what a time now for us to take this dream and not let it die. Take this dream and give it life. Take this dream and breathe into it your own personal spirit until finally it becomes a flame that burns around the whole world.
And that's going to do it for this edition of the show. As always, I thank you for listening. Hope you're enjoying the show. If you feel like you're benefiting from the show and want to show your support, you can support us on our Patreon page, and a link in the show notes. Please like and follow us on social media and help us spread the word by reposting our posts and telling others about the show. You can leave comments on the website at www.graciejujitsurocks.com. You can also go to iTunes and leave comments as well as rate the show, and we would appreciate a 5-star rating, which helps us with our standing in iTunes. You can also leave comments on our YouTube channel. If you have suggestions for the show, please don't hesitate to give those. We always like feedback and suggestions. Okay, that's going to do it. So until next time, this is Marty Josie, and I'll see you on the mat.